Before diving into today's discussion, I just wanted to give you a quick background on this webinar. So this session is taking place as part of the MasterCard Strive EU program, which is led by MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth with the support of Caribou. As part of this program, Yemen drafted a short focus paper examining the main obstacle that small businesses are facing when it comes to their cyber resilience. Marie-Clémence will put the link to the report in the chat. So today I have the pleasure of welcoming 5 speakers. So we have first Katarina Kakalikova, Director for Social Impact Europe at the MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth. Jill Thomas, Director of Engagement, Capacity and Resilience Program at the Global Cyber Alliance, and she's also a member of the MasterCard Strive EU Small Business Council. Also joining Francisco Andrade e Silva, Manager for Market and Regional Policies at the European Cybersecurity Organization. And 2 fund winners from the program, Guillaume de Tederville and Artemis de Pascal from Crisco Cybersecurity, but also Dominique Malchik, founder and CEO of Redump.eu. Before diving into the core of the cybersecurity discussion, I would like to invite Katarina to present the Strive EU program and the initiatives that are led by MasterCard on cybersecurity for small businesses. Katarina, if you are with us, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Marie. Welcome everybody to this webinar. Before we deep dive into the fascinating topic of cybersecurity, I have just a couple of words to tell you about MasterCard Strive EU program that is behind one of this webinar as well. So the MasterCard Strive EU is our latest addition to the global programs that we call Strive that support small businesses and small businesses growth and the digital transformation across the world. It is a global program led by MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth. For those of you who don't know MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth, it's a social hub of MasterCard where we bring our assets to help solve global problems. The program Strive EU seeks to boost the resilience and growth of European small businesses by supporting innovations that actually help them get capital, go digital safely, I would say, and gain networks and a know-how. The program actually consists of innovation fund. Of that actually is the aim to finance solutions that support the European companies to actually find solutions and navigate European twin transition to go digital and to also to sustainable growth. Basically, our goal is to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem with this initiative. As already Marie mentioned, the program is implemented by Caribou Digital in cooperation with our partner, European Microfinance Network. So I wish you a very interesting session, and I'm looking forward to hearing you.
Thank you, Katarina. Great. Go digital. That's the word that I kept in mind.
Yes.
So now I would like to turn to Jill Thomas from the Global Cyber Alliance, with whom we will start diving into the conundrum that is the cyber resilience for small businesses. Jill, are you with us?
I am, yes.
Yes, great.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you here. Welcome. Jill, you have a lot of experience on the topic, obviously. So what is the biggest security challenges that small businesses are facing today? And in your role at the Global Cyber Alliance, how have you seen challenges evolved over the past few years?
Yeah, certainly. So for small business, I think the approach by the cyber criminals still remains reasonably unsophisticated. I think many of the challenges for small businesses include a lack of budget, so having the money, having the expertise, having the resources, and having the sort of the understanding, if you like, and being able to break through a lot of that jargon. I think that the use of AI is really driving up the scale and the impact that the cyber attacks and cyber criminals are able to have. And they're also driving down the costs and the traditional barriers of entry for those wishing to gain from small businesses. So they are still taking advantage of weak and reused passwords, taking those that are affected in a breach, and also utilizing the fact that still multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication isn't implemented as widely as maybe it could be across the sector. Also, I think unpatched systems. So again, taking advantage of known vulnerabilities for which many of those operators and developers have released updates, but that patch or the update still hasn't applied. And these are common issues, not just for small businesses, but across many large corporates as well. And particularly the more complex the systems that are in place, maybe the harder it is to actually time and make sure that everything remains okay. So again, phishing emails, links to malicious websites, and attachments still are causing a lot of issues, and it only takes one person to click on a particularly busy day, maybe if they're distracted, or again the use of AI, which is really able to personalize those emails, are getting through, unfortunately. And also really just taking advantage, I mentioned it just earlier, small businesses are really busy. They've got they have a lot of trust, and in the majority of cases, small businesses really don't think they will be targeted. But because of the systems that they use, because of the fact that it's automated, because of the ease by which AI is enabling all of these additional tries to take place, we really need to have those protections in place. They can get hold of very cheap data exploit kits and services, so they really need no technical experience to conduct really widespread, disruptive and effective campaigns. So those are really, I'd say, many of the challenges. We know that large corporates are spending money on the defences, and quite often the small businesses and the grassroots organisations either can be seen as low-hanging fruit, if you like, via those unsophisticated attacks, or they can be seen as an alternative route into those large corporates that may be the ultimate target.
So we can see many different factors when it comes to cybersecurity. You mentioned the human factor, clicking on a phishing email. You mentioned the technical factor. It's not necessarily easy for small businesses to get into their cyber resilience, to train their employees, I imagine, to use these tools. Also the financial aspect of building the cyber resilience of a small businesses. What are the main consequences, financial consequences, reputational consequences for a small business who underwent an attack?
So the consequences can be devastating, and as a small business, the consequences will have the same impact on the small business owners, those that are involved in that small business, as they would be if you're part of a larger organisation. So the mental implications, as well as the technical and the financial as well. But really it's about the reputational damage, it's the trust, it's being able to build back up. In many cases, unfortunately, the small businesses aren't able to build back up, and may well that may well be the end of the small business itself. But in terms of the cyber attack, again, the impact of the cyber attack itself can depend on what protections the small business itself does have in place. So, for example, does it have robust policies in place? if they received an invoice from a supplier explaining that they'd recently changed their bank details, or a new supplier comes online, what simple policies are in place to double check that. And if a customer of theirs received a fake email from trying to pertain to be them, would that customer have been advised how they should deal with that? Has the small business advised that they should always double check it under these certain circumstances? We mentioned phishing emails, we mentioned usernames and passwords. So if an attacker were to be able to gain access to an employee's username and password, it could be easily guessable, reused, or having been breached. Does a small business have two-factor authentication enabled, for example? If it doesn't, then that gives the attacker direct access to the system. If they do have two-factor authentication, then that attack will be blocked before it can really get anywhere. And then once the attacker's inside the network, how far that attacker is now essentially the employee is now the attacker, and what would that employee have access to, what controls are in place and at what level. And if the employee had no access to particular data or systems, then it makes it far harder for the attacker to gain access to that as well. So if they have user or admin level, then again that dictates how far the attacker can easily go. So having robust policies, having robust access control in place can give some level of control to that small business in terms of prevention and protection as well. So those are just a couple of examples. So it's a combination of how that cyber attack will sort of roll out and what the consequences and the impact are on the small business itself. But it's absolutely being fueled by AI campaigns. And the cyber criminals just see the small businesses as potential paychecks. They don't care about the consequences for those small businesses.
Yeah, great. I remember attending a workshop in Washington organized by MasterCard on cybersecurity, and we're actually put in the situation where we were small businesses and we're attacked. And we were put in a different situation with different messages coming from the cyber attacker. And I remember the level of stress that got into the room, trying to react to and in the urgency and not doing any mistake in reacting, making the right steps. So we can easily, at that time, I think I really realized how stressful it must be for small businesses, and also if they're not equipped at all, what do they do? To whom they are turning to? Do they go to the police? Do they go to the IT provider? How did they inform their customers? It's a real nightmare. I was also
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. It's having that plan in place as well. What would you do if this happened to you? And testing it out, putting yourself in that situation, as you say, it's very, very stressful.
Really stressful. And just the last thing is, you mentioned several times the use of artificial intelligence from the attackers. How do you see this evolving? Could we use the artificial intelligence on the other side to actually fight against cyber attacker?
Absolutely. The idea of utilising AI and utilising automation as well to help particularly small businesses to get those protections in place and make it more straightforward, more easy for them to sort of understand and then protect themselves as well. We're at the stage, if you look at the evolution of the car, you wouldn't buy a car with the seatbelts being as a sort of a kit kind of thing, do-it-yourself kit. It's built in, and that's where we need to be going. And I'm hoping, in a couple of shortly on this webinar, we're hearing from a couple of the EU Strive winners to find out what they're doing in terms of their cyber security to help small businesses as well. But we need to be utilising that really to scale up and really to get those protections in place.
Yeah, even more because as mentioned, Katarina at the beginning, SMEs are going more and more digital. So we need to make sure that the right environment is set for them to go there safely and continue carrying their businesses. You mentioned the EU fund winners. So I think it's a great transition to the next part of our webinar. We will now turn to 3 other experts that we have with us today. And this second part will be led by Jill, who will help us to learn more about the existing solution, but also what is going on the market. Jill, I will let you take the lead here with Francesco, who's with us. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Francesco, just really from a market perspective, what trends are you observing in the development of cybersecurity solutions for small businesses? And also, just before we launch into that, really just a very brief overview of the European Cybersecurity Organization as well, please.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me well. I'm in the train station. I had some train delays, so sorry for that. So my name is Francisco. I work for the European Cybersecurity Organization, as it was said. EXO, in short. EXO is really a non-profit, an industry association in cybersecurity at the European level, right? So what we do is we work across different countries and in different topics of cybersecurity market, together with startups, SMEs, investors. It's a public-private cooperation in a way that tries to support strategic autonomy in Europe in the cybersecurity sector, but also increase the resilience of the European Union and other European countries. So that's a bit the backward there. I myself work more on our activities with startups and SMEs and helping them in competitiveness. And just to be clear, these are cybersecurity startups, right? So that's a bit of the introduction there on EXO side. In terms of the trends that we are seeing, so we work, as I said, with these vendors quite a bit, mostly in supporting the vendors in reaching out to the investors or customers, but also we work a bit with the end users themselves, mainly through CISOs, but also with small and medium enterprises, and we try to drive the business of cybersecurity companies. So we see a lot that there's I echo a bit your thoughts, Joe, in the sense that there's a shift to try to make things as simple as possible, right? No one expects a normal, let's say, person running an SME to know everything about cybersecurity, right? It's not what anyone expects. So the easiest, more automated the solutions, the better, because that will allow the SME to dedicate resources elsewhere. What we've also seen is that there's this shift to try or focus on integrating with already existed solution architectures. So because as we know, SMEs have limited resources, so they try to use catch-all tools, let's say it like that, right? So that you don't need to buy multiple licenses and spend a lot of time managing different providers, but rather one platform that tries to encompass everything. And of course, there's Microsoft's Google Workspace and the cybersecurity components of all of that, which hampers a bit also the space for innovation from the European cyber SME side. And then we also see quite a bit of focus on awareness and training, and often the entry point for cyber attacks, right? So it's the human factors. So we're seeing more and more some gamification of cybersecurity also for schools, some phishing solutions there, and whatnot that really try to help the person from the SME learn on cyber attacks, which I guess is a good thing because it shows you that maybe for an initial increase in the level of resilience, all you need to do is to learn about cybersecurity a bit and establish the basic practices. So it also provides a quick first step for an SME to increase resilience. Also, we see that NIS2 and the other GDPR, NIS2 cyber Resilience Act, all of these policy initiatives coming from the EU are also driving quite a bit the market, and there's more and more solutions that try to or cybersecurity solutions that integrate compliance already have that in mind. So yeah, as EXO, what we're trying to do as well is try to map exactly where you can see, these solutions. We have an online marketplace platform called CyberHive Europe, where you can see all of these only European providers listed, and it's a good place to go to and check out, what's out there in the world, let's say, in terms of cyber.
Okay. Yeah, so some very good initiatives coming and in place. As much as anything, it's about being aware that they exist, isn't it, as well? So that's really good to know. And do you see more of a role for public-private partnerships, particularly in accelerating the use of those cyber tools?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see today's webinar and EXO's activities as well as a testament to that, right? So, as we said, SMEs, but also municipalities, regions don't have a lot of resources to defend themselves with, right? So it's always a very good first step to get involved with public-private organizations such as, for example, EXO, that do work on the topic, right? You can leverage on a lot of let's say low resource intensive initiatives. You can get connected to the right players, find the right solutions for you that might be cheaper as well, of course, if they're SME provided than the larger providers in a way, or support programs from large providers as well that are often quite involved with public-private partnerships, right? Again, such as is the case with MasterCard also being a member of EXO, right? So I think that public-private partnerships are key. They can help you in many ways. So finding funding, to support your implementation of cybersecurity solutions. It's building a community where you can connect to the cybersecurity providers and find partners as well. Try to build partnership models together with the providers to integrate solutions, your solution architecture, and so on and so forth, right? So I think that these partnerships, or often these associations that are created to support there, can really help to build this trust in a way between the provider or the end user and the provider, so that it's kind of addresses the problem of from an SME side. So which solution do I buy? How do I know it's trustworthy if it's not one of the big names, right? And if you go through these public-private partnerships or associations that are out in that sector that already know and have a view, then it's a way to also kind of address that gap, let's say.
Thank you. Interesting. And so I think now we can move on to the Innovation Fund winners, and I'm really looking forward to this section, actually. Not that yours wasn't interesting, Francisco, but this is MasterCard and MasterCard Centre for Inclusive Growth, really supporting small business innovation across the EU, and really excited to hear from Redamp.io, Dominic, one of the fund winners, really to sort of understand what your solution that you've developed is, how it works, and in particular, what specific problem are you looking to address? What does it address from the small business perspective? So I'll hand over to you, Dominic, now.
So thank you very much. Nice to meet you all. And I would say at the beginning, we are trying to address exactly what you spoke about, because we are delivering the innovation in cybersecurity and IT management for the small and medium enterprises in a way that they can get one platform, they can get up and running within like 5 to 10 minutes. They can understand it, and either they go with one of our partners so that they have really a professional service behind it, or they go on their own. We have also customers like that. If you are at least a bit technical aware, so that you understand what is mobile and what is tablet and what is desktop and server, you can even operate it on your own. And yeah, what's quite important is that we deliver something that is affordable, something that is instant, that is understandable by wider public. And then if you grow, you can scale. And the most important thing, the most important message that is basically translating to the lack of resources and lack of money, lack of people, is that we are extremely efficient. We are not focusing to show you every single rabbit hole in cybersecurity or IT management. We are really very carefully selecting what is important for you. And these things, only the things that you need to interact with, we are displaying to you. Other things that you don't need to interact with, we do automatically. And that's the huge difference. So if I may ask for the next slide, I will just underline these statistics. And believe me, these statistics are very conservative. We know that more than 50% of SMEs have absolutely no cybersecurity measures in place. And from what we know from the real market, when we go to smaller companies, unfortunately, we are getting to like 75, 80, 85% of companies being completely blind in cybersecurity. And that's a huge problem. On the right side, you see that even this generic media, non-specialized media, is having this as a topic, that small businesses have no efficient way to protect, to fight the cyber risks. And this is why Redamp is here, that we are really focusing on what's important for the small ones, because believe it or not, it's like 85, 90% of businesses globally. So most of the businesses are unfortunately unprotected. And this is something that we need to change. And we are doing this with our platform. Next one, please. I always explain it like that. Imagine you have a house and this house is missing fence so that basically anybody can enter. And if you want to build a fence, and you buy one of the contemporary enterprise grade solutions, on the next slide there is the picture showing you what you are buying, and you are buying exactly this. This is super fancy neon lights gate that is protecting your driveway, but unfortunately, even an average chimpanzee can go around it. And if you want to be protected completely, you need to combine on average 8, 9, 10 different solutions from different vendors. And unfortunately, again, the small businesses don't have money for that. Even if they had money to buy those solutions, they have no chance to operate it. They have no chance to understand it, to put it all together. And even if we imagine an ideal world where they have money to buy it and to operate it, between these solutions from different vendors, these solutions usually don't talk to each other. There are gaps. And still, these gaps are pretty addressable, so that you anyway have to do something else. And this is what we do then with Redamp. On the next slide, I will show you the philosophy of Redamp. The philosophy of Redamp is that you simply buy, within the first 10, 15 minutes, a fence around your whole house, around your complete property. This fence is not 4.5 meters high. It is not made of composite materials. It is made of solid wood. It is 2 meters high, but it is more than enough to protect your house from intruders. And then, of course, if you want to invest more into your driveway protection, then you can do it with one of the solutions, the big ones. But please, let's start with the complete protection and then build on it. Because if you protect just one part and leave out the others, you are the same unprotected as you were before. So that basically it means that the investment was useless. Now I will show you something, let's say, from the real life, how it works. We work with the existing hardware of the users, of the customers, so that they just use our apps and they connect it to the web console that is running in the cloud. As I said, it can be all registered and up and running within less than 10 minutes. And they don't need to buy anything. They just fill in their company details. They just invite the users and the users are in. And then immediately the platform starts operating for them. Unfortunately, we don't have that enough time for showing you all the things that we deal with and solve for you. But I can show you at least a few slides that are showing the platform in real. So on the first slide, you see how we display issues, what we have discovered. We always display issues in human language. We don't show the the jargon, the CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exposures, some scoring system and so on. We simply translate everything into something that you understand. The first one, for example, device is no longer supported. That means there is no support for the device. So I just used other words. And with everything you see, you always can click on detail, you always click on the device itself, you always can click on the user. So everything is like interconnected and you can get immediately the super understandable information that you need. Of course, here are some issues unresolved. The platform itself has a so-called response module where you can define what should happen when an issue is discovered, issue of a type. So that, of course, on one side, you can be an observer. On the other side, you can be also actively working against it. But this is for a different session to speak longer about it. Let's just go to the next slide, please. Here is one of the things. If you just invite your colleagues, we immediately start looking around for the data leaks that are flying around online. So we show you immediately in like 5 minutes what passwords are flying around. Actually, not exactly what passwords. We are only showing the information that the password is flying around. But if we show you that the password is flying around, it is really out there, so that you should never ever use it again. And of course, for our safety, we only show to the users the metadata. We always show you what kind of metadata or what kind of data is leaked, on which service, what was the date of leak, and then we give you the opportunity to somehow work with it. Let's go to the next one. Of course, with the platform, you gain complete visibility, which is quite important because this is one of the basic problems. The companies are missing visibility. The small ones, they think, oh, there is nothing that they can steal, but this is the biggest lie. There are always things to be stolen. It is always very easy to create a generic script, let it run online. We call it spray and pray. And then the little portions of money is coming back to the adversary's accounts. And it is way easier than attacking an enterprise. So it's really the main target these days, to attack the small businesses. So what you get with the platform, this complete overview of devices that you have. You can even remote control the devices. You can even remote connect to the devices. And there is really plenty of things that you can do with the platform if you want. So this is what I mentioned on the first slide, cybersecurity and IT management, all in one platform, so that you don't have to buy 10 products, just one, more than good enough for you. Next one, please. Here you see, for example, private dashboard of a user. Each user has a private dashboard. We show him a score in a time. We show him an exact KPI. And we show also how many devices this user is using. What are the particular issues for this user? What is the success rate of education? Because we have also quizzes integrated. We have phishing simulations integrated. We have local threats alerting integrated. And we are able to measure every single piece of this automatically for you. So that if you onboard to the platform, you get this data, you get these private cards, private dashboards for your employees. And if you are creative with, for example, your quarterly bonuses, you can say, hey, dear employees, if you keep your score, cyber risk score below 5, which is quite good, then you get your next cyber bonus, for example. So it's quite measurable. You can gamify it within your company. And finally, you have hard data at your disposal every day. Next one, please. Here, for example, I show you how we log quizzes. So this is the statistic of a quiz that was regarding securing accounts with 2FA, two-factor authentication. Here you see what was this quiz about. Yeah, there are some questions. There is shown the answers. What was the success rate? How long did it take to the user? This is, of course, coming from a demo account. So please, the data is kind of not very real, but this is what you get, so that you have a complete overview of which users responded correctly, how long did it take to them, when did they do the response. So it's, again, all there, just a single click. The next one, please. Another showcase is displaying how we communicate to users, for example, the local threats. If there is a threat that is touching, for example, French post office, it doesn't make sense to send it to all other European countries. So we have the whole world divided into countries. And if there is a particular threat in a country, we send it only to that particular country so that we keep it very relevant for the people. And so they are not getting bored with what they receive. The other thing is that we have to always, again, do kind of a marketing style and translate the threat towards the language of the normal people. And this is what we do. You see, for example, here, Google search scams. So we try to use the keyword so that the people will very easily identify where is the threat. And then if they receive this notification because they are in that particular country, they can just click on the notification regardless of if this is coming from mobile, tablet, or desktop. And they are brought to our online blog where everything is described in an easy language with screenshot. So they exactly know where to look for the signs of the scam. And this is how we try to educate the people with concrete examples so that we are not telling them like passive education, what is phishing, what is smishing. We are showing them the exact cases, how they can be robbed of money, how they can lose their accounts. The next one, please. Yeah, and actually, I'm done. And what we say, because we really do it very widely integrated, we don't do it very deeply integrated because the debt is basically killing the small businesses from their cybersecurity perspective. I am not hesitant to say that we are introducing the very new standard for cybersecurity and IT management in small and medium businesses. And we also see it from the responses from the market that finally they are really able to use the solution. And that's what we have to do because, as I said at the beginning, we have to change 80% of the market. And this is where Redam stands. And this is why we live, why we breathe, and we will fight up till the end until we win.
Brilliant. Thank you. Really interesting. And I love the way that you're translating cybersecurity into understandable terms and making it as straightforward as possible for the small businesses, whilst understanding the challenges that they face in terms of budget and so forth. Often for a small business, the first question they may be asked is, well, what is your budget? But in cybersecurity, it's not about that. It's about what are your needs and what is right for that organization. And coming from that angle, understanding those small business needs is really, really great. And one thing you did mention there was end of life, and it's a good opportunity to plug the fact that Windows 10 is just about to go end of life mid-October. So if anybody is running Windows 10 on their machines, then they really need to be looking at updating it to Windows 11. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah, just a side note, we have this as a detection, of course, within our platform, so that if you have Windows 10, we notify you about that. But there is one news that Microsoft has extended support for European countries for 1 more year. This is relatively fresh, so it should not end this October, but the next one.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So we've got a little bit of breather space there. So thank you. Thanks for that. And then I'm going to move quickly on now, actually, to Cresco, another innovation winner. And I'm going to hand over now, really, again, to sort of explain what problems you address for small businesses and provide an overview of your solution.
Yes, hi. How are you doing? So my name is Artemis. I know that it says Guillaume, but this is technically because I'm connecting from my colleague's account. To give maybe a bit of who I am the main developer on the engine behind our platform. So I think I would be one of the most competent people to talk about it. So the idea of Voltrack that we developed at Cresco is to try and make more a companion to the IT or the maintainer of websites, because we are trying to target mostly the image in this case. So the image is mostly translated by the website in general. So if you look to the next slide, you will see what the main dashboards look like. So the idea is to have a small platform, you log into it, and once you're logged in, you already have a lot of different information. You have your cyber security score, the total of vulnerabilities that were found on it, the number of active domains, because of course you can add as many domains as you want, with the different, with a good overview of the critical, moderate, low, and general vulnerabilities. So the idea here is to have a quick overview of what's been going on, your score evolution, and how you're doing in terms of cybersecurity posture or your website pretty quickly. If you go to the next slide, you will see the scans. So to feed that dashboard, we need to scan your domain. So you just enter your domain, verify, of course, that you have ownership over this domain, because, well, this is something that is mandatory. And once that is done, the rest does itself pretty much automatically. It will automatically scan to try and map your attack surface as best as possible. And once that is done, we'll start launching a vulnerability scan directly onto your website. Then once that's done, you can see that the scans will appear in the scan list below, which you can filter by domain for ease of use and ease of access. And you have 3 little buttons: one to simply view details on the scan, one to download the report by itself, and one to, of course, delete the scan if it fails or if it is too outdated. So the idea is also to establish a bit of recurrence, because normally we allow 1 scan per week. So the idea is that once DIT started fixing a few issues, etc., it can already rescan their website. It will compare and update the cybersecurity score, the number of vulnerabilities, etc. So it's really to to allow the evolution to be seen both in the dashboard and for DIT in general. The next step is what we call the track. The idea of the track is to monitor the technologies that are available. So if there is an auto detection, so while it does a scan, it will auto detect every technology that is available and used on the website, and it will list them in the list here. So you can see here we have an example with a few different versions of Adobe Acrobat, but if you have WordPress, it will be WordPress. Whatever technology is in use on your website will be automatically added there. Of course, you can add them manually as well. There is a small add technology button. And the idea is that for each technology that you track, if there is, for instance, a new vulnerability being published, a new version that needs updating, it will automatically send you a notification via email, we are trying to implement webhooks as well for people using Slack, for instance. So the idea is that you will be notified quickly, and you will be able to pivot, update, without the hassle of having to remember everything and track everything yourself. On the next slide, you will see the vulnerability panel. So in this case, I don't know why the vulnerabilities are not showing in this one, because there were 74, but normally you have the different vulnerabilities that appear here. So they are stored by different things. Type, we do print the CVE when there is one, but we don't focus on it. A small description, those descriptions are, we are trying to do our best to have it as humanly readable as possible, even though it will stay technical, because this is meant to be, as I said, more an IT provider or general IT companion. But the description will be as humanly readable as possible. Then we have the severity, which we do not print as a CVSS score because we noticed that while it does work, I think that having the simple low, medium, high is better in terms of readability. If it can be exploited and if it is a false positive, because we try to identify false positive as soon as possible. We have, of course, the created at and the different action. You can ignore, mark as solved, and view the details of the vulnerability, which will have more information on how to fix it as well, etc. The false positive is, of course, not fully automated because it's, well, hard to estimate when a false positive is a false positive. But there is a, in the next slide, you will see the plans and services. There is a way to request an audit. So the idea is that the platform in itself will be either very low cost or even normally we would be able to do a free tier if everything goes all well. And the idea is that this free tier can be supported by an additional test where our testers, so our pen testing team, will be able to go further into the different findings. If they find new technologies, add them for you, etc. So basically feed the platform with any information they might, additional information they may find. And this audit request, you can also ask for a simple false positive scan, which will be fairly quick because, of course, we know exactly what to check and where. And once that is done, we can quickly just check a few boxes and keep the cost at the minimum. While we do have our tester, in the next slide, you will see that we also have a small toolbox. The idea of the small toolbox is to help people get their hands onto their own security as much as possible without selling a third-party solution. So we give a lot of different things that we recommend. Of course, there are some basic ones such as Have I Been Pwned, DNS Twister, No More Ransom, a small email spoofing scanner, and existing solutions such as 1Password, which is a password manager. This one is a paying solution, but it is still a good solution to recommend to people. And the idea is to help them get their hands on their own security, but also be able to retest some of the vulnerabilities. For instance, some of the vulnerabilities that we found can be retested by using Have I Been Pwned, email spoofing scanner, etc. So once they see that the vulnerability has been identified by our platform, they can try and fix it, verify it using some of those tools, and then either wait for the 7 days to relaunch the scan and be updated on their vulnerabilities, or simply mark it as solved themselves. So that's the big idea behind the toolbox. And we try to add in the next slide a small AI companion, which you can see here. And the idea is that this is a context-aware AI agent, which is aware of what's going on with your infrastructure, your vulnerabilities, and your different scans. So the idea is that if you go to that AI and ask, for instance, what are the next priority steps that I should do in order to, well, ensure that I have a better position, maybe, better my cybersecurity posture, it will try to answer you with the best possible answer based on what's inside of your profile. And the idea is to try to have the client take into their own hands a lot of this security for two main reasons. The first one being the fact that we try to stay as solution agnostic as possible at Cresco in general. So we try to avoid while selling solutions because we work with a lot of SMEs. A lot of SMEs cannot afford the big solutions that are given in the markets as of now. And because it helps keep cost at minimum for the clients thus helping them to have better security at a minimum cost. So that's the idea behind the platform, and what we try to do at Cresco. Jill, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I just realised that another innovative solution. So thank you both for running through those. Before I hand on back to Marie, just in a very briefly in a sentence or two, and I'll be coming back to you as well, Dominic, really to sort of understand what winning the Innovation Fund has really meant to you, and how it's altered your company's trajectory, and also the impact that you've been able to have and are looking to sort of move forward on.
So definitely we were able to create exact plan with milestones, what we want to achieve and when. We haven't changed the trajectory of the company because the idea and the mission of the company was since the very beginning to change the environment of cybersecurity in small and medium enterprises. So this stayed the same, but what it helped a lot was that we did it on purpose. We put very strict deadlines on us with very demanding tasks to be delivered, and we delivered, and this helped us tremendously. We worked like rabbits, if I may say so. But at the end of it, we really achieved results, and this is very visible then in the market and in the market response. Also, the visibility, talking to others, to the other winners, to the managers of the fund, and so on. This is all giving you extraordinary responses, feedbacks that you can then use, and of course, marketing visibility. And if I don't explicitly mention the money behind it that we received as well, that supported us in the development and in other activities that we do towards the small businesses.
Brilliant, thank you. And yourself?
Sorry, for myself, so I've been in Cresco for a while now, and what I noticed the most with the help of the Strive Fund is that well, it helped us strengthen our cybersecurity solution, because it started kind of as a side project that, oh, we're going to try and make that platform so we can make pentest more accessible, and it really sped up the process. We're able to get a bigger team, which helped speed up the process as well, because I used to be alone on the engine, and now I have a full team behind it. We have a full team on the back end, a full team on the front end. So it really helped us propose ourselves forwards, which was really great, thus enabling us to, I hope, making a bigger impact on the SME market for cybersecurity, because as mentioned earlier, the main problem for SMEs is that people arrive and say, yeah, of course, we can give you a pen test. It's only 20,000 euros, which is impossible to pay for SMEs, of course. So having a solution that is really accessible and democratic, as we say in French, for everyone is really great. Of course, we also benefited from a lot of help in general, because, well, the funds helped in themselves, but the coaching that we benefited, either in marketing strategy, we've also received very good feedback on our code and some updates, upgrades that we could do for the engine itself. So yeah, there were a lot of good things that came with the Strive Fund that allows us to push forward and make this solution accessible as soon as possible, which is great.
Brilliant. Yeah, really, really, really good to hear of all the positive impacts and the advantage that has been taken by working under the Strive EU fund. So I'll hand back to Marie. Thank you both very much. If you would like to put your contact details in the chat or links or anything, please do so, and then I'll hand back to for both of you, and then I'll hand back to Marie to carry on with Q&A and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you. Amazing. I think we really, with Jill and Francesco intervention, we really got to understand the challenges that small businesses are facing when it comes to the cybersecurity. We touch upon the market, what's happening with the legislation and so on. With Dominique and Artemis, we managed to see a few solutions, the solution that we can have for small businesses. I was surprised to hear the number that Dominique mentioned. 51% of SMEs have no security measure market. And also the fact that they are using, the idea is to use human languages, but I think it's really important for people who don't necessarily, small businesses who don't have any technical knowledge on IT and so on. I really like the idea coming from Artemis on trying to make cybersecurity more accessible and providing this big solution, making it more democratic. As you mentioned, I think it's great for small businesses and small organizations in general to be able to not just be left on the side of the road of this digital era, but also trying to protect themselves and also use this opportunity to develop their businesses. I think we have a few questions on the chat. Let me check if my Zoom wants to. Yes. I think we have a question from Miliana Bottega. Can this platform be used for microfinance institutions? That's what I was mentioning for small businesses and small institutions. Do you think, so I'm addressing to Dominique and Artemis, can we use this solution for microfinance institution, for instance?
Yes, sure. From my side, definitely we have customers starting with one employee. So any size, beginning with the self-employed size of business up to several hundreds of people in one corporation is good to go with us.
Yeah, on our side as well, as long as you have a domain, even if it's just for sending mail, you can use our platform. Since it is a very limited scope, it is even normally free. If I understand correctly how the marketing wants to play it. So yeah, as long as you have a domain, you can start using a platform. Of course, the more infrastructure you have, the more results you will see. But it can be used by pretty much anyone as long as there's a domain behind it.
Great, great. If we don't have any questions from the audience right now, since time is running, I would like to jump to the last part of the webinar. So we heard a lot of information from you. Obviously, you are the expert in the sector. Before we are concluding this webinar, I just wanted to hear from you, based on the current state of the market, the challenges that small businesses are facing, the lack of awareness that we see in the small businesses in terms when it comes to their cybersecurity. What would be your recommendation for the next 5-10 years in terms of legislation, in terms of technical solution to further support small businesses? If any of the speakers want to start on this, just 1-2 minutes per person, that would be great.
If I may start,
Yeah, sure.
I will paraphrase what Jill said. I think that making sure that cybersecurity becomes a reflex is really the thing. She said something about the seatbelts, and when I give awareness training, I always say you should treat creating a password like you treat putting on your seatbelt, because it's a reflex now. You enter the car, you put on your seatbelt, and I think that making people aware that cybersecurity is an everyday and an always thing to do, and making people aware on the fact that it should become more and more of a reflex. You know that you lock your computer when you get up, you have a strong password to unlock it, is really the critical thing to make sure that we go forward in terms of cybersecurity.
So there is some kind of pedagogical work behind and raising awareness among SMEs.
Yeah, I think that instead of the hanging there with the kitten, if we have it specifically for the, for instance, don't share your password or thing like that. Having good infographics, I don't know exactly how to do so, but I know that there is a lot of pedagogic need in terms of cyber.
Yes, great. Maybe Jill or Katerina or Dominique, if you want to say a few last words.
Just following on that, there is always, from an online perspective, there is always going to be a physical equivalent that is more easy to relate to. So we talk about passwords, we talk about having a security culture. We think about updates in the same way that in the physical world, if you had a product recall, you'd straight away take your car back to have the brakes fixed, for example. Updating the systems is the online equivalent. An update is sent out, and you need to administer that to protect yourself from these newly found vulnerabilities. If I always use walking through the park at night, I wouldn't do that. I'd take it a slightly longer route through residential, well-lit roads. And it's the same in implementing two-factor authentication. Taking those extra few things to think about what is this real? What could happen? And how can I'm never going to be 100% safe, but I can do things myself, and they become routine. And it's moving from it's moving it to that security culture and becoming routine. That helps as well.
Great. I see that Francisco had to leave us, but we will share contact detail if you need to ask questions to him. Maybe Dominique and Katerina, if you want to.
Maybe I will just
a few last words. Yeah.
I will just add, and that's, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but as we heard also from Dominic, the grand majority of SMEs really have not even considered cyber as something that they would like to go into, because it does seem to be so maybe non-tangible or difficult for them to start with. And I agree with Artemis that a lot of education is needed, and education, I would even call it kind of a drill, a basic drill that people indeed are drilled within, either the organizations, if the company has more employees, but because we know also that employees of the companies are the weak spots as well. So we know it from our big corporations, how we are being drilled in understanding cyber from the very practical point of view. Is, when I receive a phishing email about some kind of package that I'm not really expecting, that I'm really drilled into looking for those signs that are usually very easy to recognize, but people need to get the habit of looking for those, for example. So we are looking also as a wider MasterCard, not only within the activities of the center, to try to cooperate with partners, for example, in Czech Republic with Czech police, where we try to get these simple messages out there to support different types of industries, different type of companies, different sizes of companies, partner with many organizations, also organizations that represent small businesses, to really try to get it as much out there as possible. But I do have to say that I think this is a challenge for all of us. Every year we run a roundtable with Czech hospitals, where basically we want to understand how hospitals, work on their cybersecurity. And to be honest, there the numbers are also extremely bad. And when we hear also basic kind of security breaches, where people, when they hear that somebody from IT comes, they're even ready to give you their computer, which it shows only how much needs to be done. And I think we all need to do our part.
Exactly. Everyone has his own responsibility in cybersecurity, and it's amazing to see how it can touch so many different levels of an organization. Last week, I was at the Brussels airport, and there was a cybersecurity attack. All the flights were grounded, so we can touch the biggest organization to the smallest one with one employee. So yeah, what Artemis mentioned is this reflex thing, is trying to make sure that it becomes an automatism. Dominic, if you want to.
Yeah, just to sum it
Yeah.
up, I think that we simply need to really make it a nature, like something that we are taught at schools, at basic school, because we are always learning how to do hygiene, how to do math, how to do whatever, but we are not taught how to do cybersecurity for ourselves, how to protect our data, and we are not aware of the risk. This is the general status, unfortunately, of the whole society. How we are trying to do it, that we are trying to I would say sneak in, but integrate into the big operators like mobile operators, insurance groups, and so on, to get it to masses, so that when they start seeing the first reports, they start taking care. But before telling them, unfortunately, they are like completely blind and completely untouched by this. Another thing that is happening these days, the market is doing something for us in this regard, because you see every now and then there is a cyber attack, there is another one, and this is increasing and will be increasing because of use of AI. This is all speeding up. So I hope that it will really change and that we will be part of the change. If I take it politically, we should really start very early with the education and put it into the educational system, so that everybody is at least aware there is some cybersecurity, cyber hygiene, and stuff like that. But this is long-term project.
Yeah. No, but it's a bit sad to see that usually businesses need a wake-up call to actually start caring about their cybersecurity. And obviously they have other priorities to take care of when it's a small businesses. But yeah, we could understand, I think, during this webinar, that the consequences can be really dramatic for small businesses in particular.
But I think it's linked to the psychology of small businesses. I think you mentioned it at the beginning, or somebody did, is that, you know, small businesses, they open their business because they want to do that activity or deliver that service or develop and sell that product that they, you know, they're passionate about. Basically, cybersecurity for them, it's like administration work. But something that is indeed extremely dangerous to ignore. But it's kind of logical that that's not the priority, but it needs, I mean, it's probably also up to us to be able to sell it better in a way that they actually understand, yes, it's an admin work, that it's maybe not necessarily the most attractive work of your day, but it needs to be done. Otherwise, you actually really risk to completely close your business and not actually be able to realize your passion.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. We're coming to the end of this webinar. I will turn to the audience to see if we have any question. Obviously, the presentation will be shared, so you will be able to get in touch with all the speakers if you need to ask questions and other information. Marie-Clémence, do we have any question? I cannot see. Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I think we will close it for today. Thank you very much to all the speakers who joined us today, took the time to prepare and present their solution, but also share their expertise on the market. This webinar was the second of the series of 4, so the next ones will be on artificial intelligence, so close from today's topic, and the last one will be on embedded finance, so you will receive a few information about it in a couple of weeks, months on. Thank you for all the audience for having attended this workshop. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to Marie-Clémence or to myself. We will be more than happy to put you in contact with the speakers or answer any questions. And with that, I wish you all a good day, good lunch, because it's coming up for some of us. And yeah, thank you very much all.